three of the most important parts about your health. One, your genome, the infrastructure of the body. Second, your cognition, which is, everything starts from your brain and works through the rest of the body. And then the third is the environmental and lifestyle that you have. When was the last time your primary care physician asked you about your diet or how close you are, or gave you counsel on not pulling your iPhone next to your head, or how close you live to a power line? It doesn't exist. So the models that we're creating now, which is the AI model, actually allows us to collect a whole lot more data and be able to personalize that data to the individual.
Immigrants, welcome, welcome, welcome to today's Immigrant Nation. We want to share inspiring immigrant journeys for those immigrants who long to change the world. This is the show for you. Today, we sit with none other than Pete Martinez, a Cuban immigrant, tech visionary, former IBM executive, I really mean that, and now CEO of Civotech. From escaping communism to creating tech that saves lives, Pete's journey proves that no dream is too big for an immigrant soul. So let's get inspired. For those of you who are joining the show, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Immigrant Nation. And please remember to share with your friends on Facebook at Immigrant Nation Podcast, LinkedIn, and YouTube, the Immigrant Nation Podcast. Pete, tell us about your early life by reframing it the following way. Knowing what you know now as an immigrant, where do you start to radically change your community, your life, and your tribe?
It's fascinating that you mentioned that, and thank you for the honor to be in this podcast. I think the mission is extraordinary, and it gives us the platform, the opportunity to share stories, not the difficulty, but how we found success, how we're helping others through our journey. So my mission here is actually to share some of the things that I found to be successful in my path. I came over with my parents in 1961 from Cuba. We escaped communism, and escaped is the proper word. We were one of the last to actually be able to get on a plane and leave, but we left with 2 suitcases and $20. Fortunately, with family and parents that had tremendous family values that actually were tremendous role models for myself and forced me to become a better person. One of the things that I found incredibly insightful was, at that time, I had no idea what was going on. I was 7 years old, and the journey leaving and going to first Puerto Rico, then Dallas, then Miami, it was tumultuous, but I had no other reference to go through it. One of the things that I reflect back on, my only toy, my brother and I, the only toy that we had for our first year in exile was this little Matchbox car, a little Tonka toy. You develop an awful lot of innovation and creativity when your only toy is that little car. So you reflect back on, one, the values of your parents, then the values of what they taught you. But then they teach you never complain, never ask. One of the things that my parents told me, it says, you don't take a penny that you didn't earn. You actually strive and not only help yourself, but you help others. That's been my motto all along. And I have strived to make myself, but everybody around me better.
That is fascinating. So, you have been in America for over 40 years. If I have the number wrongly, correct me.
Yeah.
But you fondly recollect the first humbling experience of how you came to America. A suitcase and a Tanka toy that you shared with your brothers. That humble experience, how have you used that to drive you, to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, it focused me on what's important to me. It had never been about the material things. It's always been about the experience. Why am I in this world, and what is my path forward? So my path forward has always been, one, creating a better self, creating a better family, my next generation, and then my greater circle, which is the impact on others. One of the things that I always look in my career is what is the societal impact that I'm creating. I happen to do it through technology for the most part, but I use technology to actually solve human problems. So I focus on health, I focus on education, but the technology and the learnings that I've gotten have been always a method to achieve that. So my current company, which is helping kids with rare genetic diseases, it's just the AI, the artificial intelligence. We're using it as a technology to actually enable a path forward, to be able to say that we have helped 160,000 kids and their families through very difficult times because of the work that we're doing is probably the greatest thing that you can say about it. It's not about the money. It's not about any kind of self-gratification. It's actually the others. We helped others. That's what we're here.
Let's dig deep into that. What is life like for an immigrant who's struggling to find their mission? How do you dig within yourself to find that one driver that drives you, that eventually can be monetized but is not driven by money?
A great example, my father. He comes over, he was an engineer in Cuba. When he comes over, none of his degrees, his engineering degree from University of Miami is not recognized in the United States, and neither is his professional license. So in the first 2 years of him being in the United States, he was not only working 3 jobs, but he was also studying at night so that he could get his professional engineering license revalidated. So think about 15 years, 20 years after you graduate, you're taking all of these calculus and physics and all this crazy stuff in a different language while raising 2 kids and feeding your family. That was a role model for us. I couldn't understand it when I was going through it because you're just involved in it. But you see that after he actually aced his exams, he didn't say, I'm done, now I'm going to go make money. He turned around and said, look, there are another 1,000 engineers coming right behind me. How do I facilitate a better world for them so they don't have to go through the same type of struggles? So they created education forums, they created classes to enable the next generation to come through. I said, oh my God, I mean, this is exactly how we move the needle forward. How do we pass the torch on to the greater good?
You learned subconsciously a profound lesson from your dad, and I'm
Exactly right.
assuming from your parents. Now, immigrants, especially immigrant parents that migrate to the US and start raising families, most of us find ourselves in environments where we're extremely busy and sometimes we miss to spend quality time with our children. So, in that process, we start pushing our children to schools, in this case, probably public schools. And we depend on teachers and the society around us to raise our children, something that in America is not the fabric of the society. It's not the way immigrants we do it. When your dad was in Cuba, he could walk away and go do his thing, knowing that the neighbor next door and the family member next door would take care of you. We were a small village that would raise you. In America, there's no village to raise you. So for parents who come here and we lose that, what are some of the valuable lessons we need to impact to our children, knowing that our children learn more, not from what mostly we necessarily tell them, but from what they see from us?
That's probably the key to that. We are, as parents, the role models. The children are sponges and seeing, hearing, remembering everything that we go through. It's unfortunate that many parents actually outsource that responsibility to the schools. That's a big problem because we have no idea what's going on. I remember my mother in the summer times, she would call my brother and I in at lunchtime because we're going to go through Spanish lessons because we want to maintain the language in the home. And God bless her, I wound up running Latin America for IBM. And when I got that position, I went to my parents' house. I kissed my mother's feet. And he says, because of that time that you dedicated to us and your personal insight, your sacrifice to go through it. Likewise with my dad, he would take the time and, he'd give me examples of engineering and stuff like that. He became my role model. I went into engineering mostly because of him, because I said, this guy's got it. I mean, it's an incredibly difficult career, but he said, yeah, he did it, and he's got very high expectations of me. So let's throw a hard punch.
Let's not dance around of what just happened. When you talked about your mother, you choked a little bit. That tells me that she had a profound influence or has had a profound influence on who you are as a human being. What are some of those attributes that you found yourself teaching them to either the generations that came after you and also to your teammates?
That's a very, very important, very important question. The two things that she provided me: one, very, very strong love, passion, compassion, caring, but also high expectations of me. She set a very, very high bar. Without saying it, she was very demanding in terms of the schoolwork and everything. She would talk about examples of people that are good role models, people that are doing good. So she, besides herself, she started packaging what a good human being is all about. So both education, contributions to society, but she was always there. She was my conscience, and she would say, "Yeah, that's good, that's bad." If she noticed something that I was thinking about or potentially doing wrong, she was there, and very key element of my life.
Obviously, you're spearheading and running Civotech, and we will talk about Civotech here very shortly. But let's talk about your years on IBM, and I really want to focus on mentorship. I want to focus on leadership. I want to focus on building strong teams for immigrant entrepreneurs that are looking to get to that profound influence, are looking to create systems, to create opportunities for humanity. How do they surround themselves with the right people and also start growing teams? What should they be identifying in what great teams look like and what leaders look like?
Yeah. One of the most amazing experiences was to even join IBM. As somebody that came into this country, I mean, it was like 10 years removed from coming to this country to actually joining IBM. And I literally was shaking in my boots when I got an offer from IBM to work here in Boca Raton. One, I said, I'm not worthy. I'm probably ready to return my first check because they were going to figure out that I don't get it. But I trusted myself. I said, whatever got me here, I'm going to put to work really, really hard. And I'm going to prove myself worthy of it. So that was the first thing. The second thing that I realized is, it's not only myself, but I will become better because of the people that I am surrounded with. They can be an immediate work team, they can be a social team, but that support structure that you create for yourself of people that will influence, that will challenge you, that will make you better, that's been very core. So in business, you say, yeah, that's your department, the people you work with. They will have possibly a technical influence, a professional influence on you, but your surrounding, the other people that you consider your brothers, which are outside of that work environment, just as important, because these are the people you're going to relate to later on in life and said, hey, let's talk about this stuff, and let's talk about our personal lives and everything else, and you go through it. In the team building, what I found was the diversity of thought is probably the most important thing. If you have everybody that agrees with everything you say, you're all going to go off of a cliff and it's going to be an ugly picture. The people that I respected the most along the way are the ones that said, hey, have you thought of the following things? That might not be completely right. Have we looked at the bigger picture? Let's think through this thing again in a very professional manner. Didn't go head to head, but actually created the proper intellectual tension to actually develop a better thing. Those are the people that I respected the most. The ones that would tell me, yeah, you're doing everything right. It says, yeah, I know that part. Tell me where I can improve myself, where I can improve our product, where I can improve our business. That's the ones that I really respect.
Pete, if I was interviewing you for a board position, what should I be asking you?
For a board position? Yeah. The first is one, your overall vision of a better world. That vision is quite important. Everything else is tactics. Your experiences and everything else, they build you up to a certain degree. But in a board position, you want to have the perspective of what a better world is like. You're here now, you have achieved a certain stature. With it comes significant responsibility. And your responsibility is to give back. And the give back can be, we put a lot of stress on the financial side. Look, there's an awful lot of human responsibility that comes with a board membership, which is how do you make this place better than you picked it up?
Because we've addressed what it takes to stand out in a board interview, can we also address what it takes to stand out as a potentially amazing team player or employee?
Yeah, team player and employee is when you actually recognize the attributes of those around you, and you compliment them, and they actually take you up with them. That's actually the best example of leadership is when you take your whole team, you elevate them, and you recognize their value, their contribution, and your responsibility is to solidify that team, compliment them, and facilitate for their success. If they succeed, you're succeeding.
How did you find your voice in high school, in college, in the workplace as an immigrant?
Um, a lot goes back to what my parents told me. It said, never feel sorry for yourself, never ask for anything. There are going to be things, challenges that you come up with, and a lot of people wanted to fight with me and they wanted to do things and take me to different places and bad experiences and such. I stuck to myself. I stuck to what is it that I am about. I stayed away from a lot of the confrontational things or the things that I didn't think that were myself. So staying true to myself and surrounding myself with people that would help develop the true me was probably the best example. But I think the ones that start feeling sorry for themselves, that shows a tremendous amount of weakness that you got to overcome. Now you're here to better yourself. So nobody's going to feel sorry for you, and especially if you're feeling sorry for yourself.
Something profound has happened since COVID. Most people now understand the idea of working from home, and they actually want to work from home, which takes away, if you ask me, from the potential of networking really and going out there to meet with people and identify problems and start curating solutions for them. For those of us who are stuck working from home, how should we overcome that? And this may also relate to what you're doing now, the difficulty that we go through psychologically of telling ourselves a defeating story over and over again, and also relationship building, right? What should we be doing in our communities to be able to continue that human connection?
That's a very important question because, for the most part, what the COVID has done, or the virtual connection, it becomes very tactical, very matter of fact. There's no emotion related to it. You don't have the time to share. You don't have the time to exchange the what they call the water fountain type of conversation. That is so meaningful because it's not time off. It's actually relationship development, the trust factor. Think about, in industry right now, the in the technology industry, the life expectancy in a given company is probably 1.5 to 2 years. Okay. Why? There's no loyalty from the company to the employee, or the employee to the company, primarily because it's just a tactical thing. You come here, we expect you to do the job and leave. Well, I tell you what, if you spend 6 months training somebody and then they work for a year and then you got to train somebody else, that is doesn't work very, very well. So yeah, and I come from an era where you joined the company for life. You were part of a family. We had family days. So the notion at IBM somebody would leave IBM to go to a competitor, non-existent. So I think we've lost that portion of it. And this is why people are saying, well, you got to come back to the office because it's then, well, there's an underpinning thing that is not the just the business property of it. It's the emotional connection between humans. So we're starting to look for them outside, and our friends and everything else. But in developing the corporate culture, that is so significant that we've taken the emotional part out of it.
Civotech,
Mhm.
you're addressing profound issues, things like autism, babesia, which speaks very close to me. You're facing symptoms and root causes. Talk to us about the human condition between or from brain protein biochemical connection, high definition energy, and genomics. What is a basic immigrant family supposed to be concerned about, and how do we navigate these areas of our health?
The first challenge that we face is our health system. Our health system is completely broken. It is absolutely backwards. It is not concentrating on our health, it's concentrating on our diseases. It has become completely contaminated with a focus on um, financials, and not about the personal health of it. So if so within that, I get to see it from the outside. I was from a family of physicians, and actually it's fascinating because my grandfather was a physician in Cuba. So he comes over to the United States. He's already in his 60s, not about to take his exams all over again. So he was living with us. His patients from Cuba would come over to our house. He would treat them, wouldn't charge them anything. They would bring him some food, and that was what he expected. He was a good human being. Somewhere we lost the Hippocratic oath, and we said it's much more about process and workflow and how many people can I get through here and how many prescriptions can I write on a given day. That's absolutely wrong. So it starts off with the way we actually train physicians in the medical school, okay, to the way we practice medicine, to even the way we have denigrated the consumer, which in this industry is calls the patient. Think of the word patient. It's actually a noun and a verb. It says, sit there, put up, and shut up. Okay, somebody too willing to endure pain and trouble without complaining. That's actually what the dictionary says a patient is. Well, we have become that, and we have let an industry completely overrun us financially, and our health has actually gotten worse because of our health system. So I'm stepping back and I said, okay, what are the things that we know about our health? First, the probably the most important thing about our body is our DNA, our genome. Why? That's the architecture of the body. Everything that our body is about is contained with our DNA, present and future. So I said, let's really start studying what that's all about. Now that we have the technology to actually decode the genome in ways that we have never been able to do before, how do we use that to actually learn faster what that's all about? And then what the relationships are between the genome and other parts of the body? Because we have a medical system that has concentrated on the symptoms, not the root causes. So you go to any physician right now, and the motivation is to write you a prescription as quickly as possible. Well, you go to another physician, he's going to give you another prescription, and they will actually counteract with each other. You get worse. Ah, okay. So,
So you touched a nerve. I'm sorry. Um, Talking about a broken healthcare system,
mhm,
I think we address the broken healthcare system in America from a really false place, and this is why it's become really difficult to fix.
yeah, yeah,
In my assessment, healthcare should be managed from the education perspective. I do not understand why teachers have to pay for a degree. I do not understand why doctors have to carry so much debt from their education, and then we expect
you're
them
frozen
to
now. I'm not sure if it's me or you.
educate us
Oh,
and
my system
save
is
our
reconnecting.
lives. Like, to me, it's almost a system that's been set up to remain self-defeating. As a professional in the industry, in a world where AI is coming very quickly, where does society start?
Okay, I'm back. By the way, I lost about 30 seconds here. We were on education. You said education is very closely linked to health.
Okay, yes. Um, uh, I am confused as to why we burden our teachers with debt to become teachers. I am confused with why we burden doctors with debt to become doctors,
Yeah,
and then expect them to save our lives, to
yeah,
get our community to be running, to help everyone to be at peak to perform, um, and expect that they're not motivated by dollar signs. It's difficult
completely
for
agree.
people to
And
be in debt
couple of,
and
yeah,
still think clearly from where you're standing, from where you're sitting, based on your knowledge and experience, speaking about a broken healthcare system. Where do we start?
I think it's exactly where you put it, which is education. First, saddling somebody with a financial debt that they will never be able to pay off unless they charge exorbitantly to their patients. That's insane. Second, we spend too much time in probably the longest education career that you could possibly have with the worst success factor. If you think about it, the American system is the industry with the worst quality and the highest cost. Something in our education system is not right. We're producing physicians that don't, they come out of school and they're ill prepared for the workforce. Why? We spend a lot of time in lectures and laboratories and things like that that have absolutely nothing to do. You take an engineer, you graduate, and you are 100% employable immediately. We can't say that about somebody that we took them through undergraduate, graduate school, internship, residency, and specialization, and 16 years later, they can't perform. There's something wrong with that picture. I would collapse it significantly and said, make it a whole lot more value-based education, which is you're a whole lot more tactical and a practitioner than having all of this information that is completely irrelevant to you. because that information that was irrelevant cost a lot of money that you're going to charge back to somebody along the way. So I'd start off immediately with the education. The second is take away all the middlemen in the healthcare system. Okay. There's a patient and there's a doctor, and everybody else is just adding to the cost and the communication issues related to it. What we know of societies that have actually have a very close relationship with the patient, everything from the Oriental societies to some of the younger societies that actually put an awful lot of influence. The physician is the custodian and very much the partnership in your health. So health should be about health. It shouldn't be about health care. Okay. I have studied a lot of healthy people. I wanted to understand what makes LeBron James LeBron. Okay. So I measure health as optimum performance of mind, body, and spirit. Okay. If you look at healthcare, they define somebody healthy as, well, they're not sick. Well, you can be not sick, but not healthy. Okay. So it's twisting it completely around.
We have rare genetic diseases, and we have diseases that, if you ask me, were not existing 60, 70 years ago. To me, this comes from the evolution of food and food processing,
Agree.
our environment. But my hope is in the fact that I see all these immigrant entrepreneurs that have become leaders in government, leaders in Fortune 500 companies, on and on and on and on. And so I am hopeful that with AI, change is coming, right? And change in the right direction. For those of us who are listening to this show, what is our role?
Yeah. The it's especially related to health. It will become a knowledge business, hopefully sooner. Okay. And it's very data driven. Right now, we collect very little data on an individual, and much less do we share it across a system that will actually improve the science related to it. We have become very tightly focused. A primary care physician will measure your cholesterol level, your PSA level, and everything else, and they stay within those bounds. They miss three of the most important parts about your health. One, your genome, the infrastructure of the body. Second, your cognition, which is, everything starts from your brain and works through the rest of the body. And then the third is the environmental and lifestyle that you have. When was the last time your primary care physician asked you about your diet, or how close you are, or gave you counsel on not pulling your iPhone next to your head, or how close you live to a power line? It doesn't exist. So the models that we're creating now, which is the AI model, actually allows us to collect a whole lot more data and be able to personalize that data to the individual. Okay. So in the AI platform that we have now developed, you take the genomic information, you take the biochemical information, the lab work, you also take the clinical conditions, but then you also take, what are the medications that you're taking? Because those medications could actually be harming you because of side effects. And now a physician is taking that side effect as a medical condition. So they give you another medication to actually off-do that. But we're also putting the societal impact, the environmental and the lifestyle. Okay. I believe very strongly in the foods that you eat as the energy source. And I also believe that some of the foods that we think are healthy are actually not healthy. I do a thing called food sensitivity testing, which is not allergy, but actually sensitivity, things that make you inflame. I had one done a couple of weeks ago, and it turns out I'm sensitive to tomatoes. I love tomatoes. I love Italian food. I love everything else. But I could tell something wasn't right with my body because I would feel bloated, the brain fog, and everything else. I'm going to be off of tomatoes for the next 3 months, clean up my system, and go through it. So here's an important message that I tell people. I haven't been sick since I stopped going to the doctor 12 years ago.
That's profound.
Think about that. But what I have concentrated on is the things that we know work. I exercise. I exercise like a demon. I eat right. I sleep right. I clear my mind. I meditate. I pray. I say all of the things that we tell folks to do. I live by it. Now, there are going to be situations where somebody has a genetic condition, or say somebody, a difficult something. So disease is part of it. So we got to deal with it. But for the most part, the living the life as you should, actually, that takes care of about 80%. That 20%, then yeah, you need help, and get the right help. But I think the AI, the greatest value is now we will become proactive with our health, predictive, and personalized. None of those three happen in medicine right now.
For those who are listening to our conversation and they're wondering, how do I get access to a food sensitivity test? How do I connect with Civotech, or what is Civotech doing, and how does it come to the average Joe in the streets? Tell us what you guys are doing, how the public can access it, and how often they should utilize your resources.
Sure. So food sensitivity testing, very simple. There are a lot of laboratories that do this test, and it's called food sensitivity testing. The clinical terminology is IgG, which is immunoglobulin G testing. So you got IgE, which is your typical um, um, allergy testing, but then you have the IgG, which is food sensitivity. They're two different pathways. Very simple to do. I think it's about $400 or something like that, but best money you spend, because if you don't treat your food sensitivities, the things that are actually crossing inflammation with you, at some point in time, your body kicks back and says, "Hey, you quit hurting me, I'm going to hurt you back." So now it becomes a chronic disease. The things that we're doing with Civotech is actually pushing the envelope. The first thing that we started doing with kids with rare genetic diseases, believe it or not, 1 out of 10 people in this country are born predisposed to a rare disease. Okay. That's 400,000 babies per year in this country. In other parts of the world, it's much higher. Why? Believe it or not, genetic diseases, they propagate through the consummation, the marriage between close relatives, because you're actually picking up diseases from both sides. So if you take a look at some of the different parts of the world that are more predisposed, in the Middle East, a lot of the arranged marriages; in India, the caste systems; in Africa, some of the tribes; in the United States, the Amish, the Mormons, all the proximity. 1 out of 6 people in this planet are the products of second cousins and below consummated. Think of that. So that's how all of this thing starts. So what we did was now start creating testing that will very, very quickly start analyzing some of these preconditions or some of these conditions. On average, it takes about 5 to 7 years to properly diagnose a kid with a rare disease. Why? Specialist, eventually they wind up with a geneticist and said, okay, this is the root cause of what you have going on. So what we're doing is how to move this to the front of the line versus the last test that you do is the first test you do. And you actually don't have to do a genetic test. You can actually, from using the AI, just from the medical symptoms, we can determine if you have a potential genetic condition that you should test for. So we call it Gina Screen. Screen before you test. You do the test to validate. So we've been very, very successful with that. We've done 160,000 cases of kids with diseases now. Now we're going upstream. It says there's a whole lot more that should be screened, because the ones that we actually tested, they had some severe, severe stuff. This is cystic fibrosis and hemophilia, all the nasty stuff that, imagine if you don't capture it for 5 to 7 years, how much these diseases progress, you go, ah. So what we're trying to do is early diagnosis, early action. And we call everything we do actionable intelligence. You have the intelligence, what do I do about it?
So I love your mission. I see the burden you carry. How should the average physician out there start looking at how they integrate what Civotech does, what you do, into the communities that they're practicing?
It's an excellent question because what we found was there are very few geneticists in this world. I mean, there are only 9,000 geneticists in the world. More than a third are in this country. Okay. So what we're using the AI now is actually to complement or supplement their lack of genomic, a primary care physician's lack of genomic knowledge. And it said, look, consider the AI to be a black box. If you're actually looking at the symptoms and can actually interpret the outcomes of what the AI is telling you, that's incredibly beneficial. So what we started doing now is providing in the medical field, there's such a thing called continuing medical education. Every physician has to take X number of hours of training to maintain their license. So we started creating CME courses at the intersection of AI and genomics to actually lessen the apprehension and increase their knowledge base related to it. The second thing that we started doing is creating the AI platform now targeted at primary care and pediatricians, not just geneticists, because the mass market, who we see first, is a pediatrician in our life. Okay. Then it's the primary care physician. So now enabling them to use AI in their field, that's where we're going now. It's just put it in every clinician's office, and nursing as well, because I mean nurses are the ones that communicate the most. They actually do the most intake and the most communications with people. So it's extending it. And then third and ultimately, how do you provide it to a consumer? We got to be very careful there because we can offset the balance. We can create a consumer that is more knowledgeable than a physician, and the physician would actually discount, yeah, that's not good. So we got to maintain that balance. But yes, we are creating obviously very strong, powerful tools for consumers to understand their health better.
A few weeks ago, we had a guest on this show. He is the co-founder of Viome, and they're huge about genetic testing and genomes and
Mhm.
microbiome. But I'm not sure that what you're doing, what he's doing, and other people who are playing in the health field, I want to advocate for those of us who are ignorant on our personal health. What is the missing link that if I am going to my neighborhood doctor, who I would want to think is my doctor,
Mhm.
who is driven by a number and I'm in and out of his office in less than 15 minutes, who over the years, really, as you mentioned earlier, we have not really connected because he is driven by something beyond my care, except normalizing and making me feel better, not treating the symptom. We talked about a broken healthcare system. While we may want to fix things from the top to the bottom, I believe a broken system has to be hemmed like a basket from all angles, from the top, in the middle, to the bottom. Can you help us link all those together?
And I think it starts at home. I think you have to become your own personal CEO of your health. There's no question about it. If you're relying on somebody that's going to see you for 15 minutes, that is in a hurry, that is forgetful and everything else, forget about it. That's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, it will lead to more problems. We're seeing it right now. We're not doing it. So first, it is a parental responsibility to emphasize health. health in mental, health physical, health spiritual. And I cannot undersell the alignment of those three, because we tend to think, well, it's just a physical thing. Look, then we know that you can talk yourself into being sick. We also know that you can talk yourself into being healthy. There's no question about it. So I think there's a parental responsibility. No matter what your education level is, health is not that complicated thing. We've been dealing with it for the last 300,000 years. Okay. And we survived. Medicine is something that we invented in the last century and a half, and it's very reliant on chemicals being thrown into a body. Okay. We know that the natural things that this earth provides for us have gotten us through 300,000 years. So the first thing a mother, a father should instill is the health. It's not just the schoolwork and everything else. Let's focus on the health of the family. Okay. So it's the emotional, but it's the physical health of the family as well. And what we eat at the home, very, very important. It starts with the food. It starts with the prayer at home. It also starts with the sleeping habits. It's you wouldn't believe the number of kids that I've worked with at the high school, and I asked things like about their eating habits. It said, how many of you consider that you have a normal digestion? Zero raised their hand. Do you have pains in the stomach? Yes. Do you have diarrhea? Yeah. Yeah. How much do you sleep at night? How many times do you wake up in the middle of the night? All those things are just flying under the radar because we never ask. But then you ask and you said, oh my God, look at what this is high school kids. What do you eat before a football game? Well, I have some chips and I have some cookies. You're going into a football game with brain fog. So I think the emphasis on the basics, nutrition, sleep habits, and the environmental factors around, I think that's the core. I think that's the 80% of the equation.
What role is technology or technology related devices that we use on a daily basis play in either spiritually, mentally, physically, making us better or diminishing those factors? I'm talking about
Yeah,
cell phones and headsets and
yeah, yeah.
computers.
I think on the positive sides, the ones that are actually capturing information for us about us and providing a biofeedback ourselves. Some of these Apple watches, that monitor your blood and your rhythm and the blood pressure. I think those are probably good because you get an action reaction type of relationship to it. They can also be misleading in the sense that, they will psych yourself out. Okay. So that's a portion of it. The things that we know are causing harm is there's an awful lot of electromagnetics floating around. It's everything from the router in your bedroom for your iPhones and your internet to the phones being held to the ear. Yeah, they pass the FDA regulations and they pass the FCC regulations, but man. There's just too much. We know we're being bombarded. And like you said, we're experiencing health conditions that we had never seen before. What has changed? One, the technology around us, and primarily the electromagnetic around us. Second, the way we're contaminating the foods that we eat. No question about it. You concentrate on those two. That's probably 50% of the issues that we got going on. But then the third is we're reaching elder aging longer. So we're starting to hit the Alzheimer phenomenon. We're starting to hit the a lot of the people say, well, I was in a conference the other day and says we're trying to do away with heart disease because heart disease and stroke and everything else. I said, careful what you wish for. We're all going to die either from a heart condition, cancer, or Alzheimer's. Which one would you rather have? I want to go into sleep.
Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
If there is anything that terrifies me, um,
Hmm.
even
Yep.
today,
Yep.
is the idea of not recollecting something that I know I know. It actually gets me really scared. And so Sometimes I'm carrying a conversation with somebody and I'm not able to recollect something I know for sure I know, or it's somebody expressing an idea and they lose their chain of thought. And I used the sentence that has normalized that as normal. Oh, I'm sorry, I lost my chain of thought. To me, there is brain fog, or there's something underlying beyond the brain fog, and that becomes the initial sign of something deeper and bigger that we need to be concerned or worried about. These very simple, basic things that happen on a daily basis to us, what is a quick way for us to identify them and then start being purposeful about combating them?
That's very good. It's very good, and this is one of the ones that we all go through. We say, because I'm getting old, therefore it's normal to be losing it. Well, it's the same thing as exercising. Well, if you don't exercise your body, it becomes weak. If you don't exercise your brain, same thing applies. So there are a number of things. One, there's probably a genetic predisposition to Alzheimer's, but you can certainly retard it. You can certainly move it out in time. One, exercising your brain. There are brain exercises that you do. Second, you can feed it properly. We know that omega oils and things actually have provided. Third, a lot of the studies that are happening now, that the reduction of cholesterol by statins actually hurts the brain, because the brain is for the most part cholesterol. So we've been bombarding us, reducing us, and it's like, oh
Now,
my God.
this is crazy you say this, because I've been in a room where the doctor said you have too much cholesterol or you're producing less cholesterol. So let's get this cholesterol conversation out by saying, you tell us what is good versus bad cholesterol, and what is the clear function of cholesterol in our brain.
Exactly. Exactly. And the point here is, it's all personal. There are no two people that should be at 250 or 120 or everything else. That's irrelevant. The only thing that changed from when I was first took a blood test and said your cholesterol is high at 250, and then they told me no, it should be at 220, then it should be 180. The only thing that changed was the profit of the pharmaceutical company that was creating the statins. The body didn't change. But what I knew for sure is that when I started taking statins, my body started reacting in a terrible way. I was crawling off of the tennis courts. I was pulling muscles. I mean, and if you read the fine print, in some rare instances, there's joint and muscle pain. Well, I ripped my quad playing softball. And it said, what is that all about? Well, in some rare instances. So wait a minute. You're telling me I was taking something for the heart? The heart happens to be a muscle. So I was destroying the heart with the statins. Never mind all of the things, that cholesterol in the brain. One of my daughters, who's is a nurse, she can tell the Alzheimer's patient. She goes in their medicine cabinet, and if they're taking statins, immediately said, "That's it, that's it." Okay. So related to your original question, yes, all of the healthy things that we should be doing, exercise the brain. I have a lot of people that retired at about the same time that I did, and we get into conversations, and it's like, who remembers the names or who remembers the places and everything else, and everybody's forgetting. And fortunately, because I'm on it every day, really exercising the brain because of the business and everything else, plus everything else that I do for my body, like an encyclopedia. So I think there are very, very simple ways that, if you actually focus on them, are good. Exercise the mind, feed it right, and get the proper sleep functions and related to them.
So, people of color, we have certain diseases that we are predisposed to, diabetes. And then we have certain medicines that are pushed on us as solutions. Aspirin is one of them. Without thinking farmer, if I
Hmm.
was to step out of that system through diet and exercise, what needs to be done?
Yeah, it's the diet, and it's actually inverting that food pyramid that we all went through. And it's got historical significance within this country. You ate the worst food because of the economic conditions and everything else, and it's just destroyed it. And it destroyed it. And you can actually emphasize it, in terms of the diseases. Diabetes is the number one. Now, smoking is the number two, and like that. But I would start off with the things that you can control in the home, which is what you eat. So we know that you can break that cycle. If you look at some of the ways that some of the athletes are being developed now in colleges, and very specific nutrition programs that they go through in a personalized basis. So it's no longer the, hey, let's bring in the barbecue and the fried chicken and everything else. No, quite the opposite. You look at some of the players at University of Miami that have increased their strength, lost their body fat, improved their racing time significantly, primarily because they emphasized on the diet, on the diet. So number one, by far, the diet. And that takes a level of education and discipline, but also you got to turn around the economics. There, a lot of people make a lot of money providing you the bad foods, and that's shame on them.
Immigrants, if you're joining our conversation, we're honored to speak to Pete Martinez, a Cuban American tech visionary, former IBM executive, and now CEO of Civotech. Follow our conversation at TikTok and Instagram at The Immigrant Nation, Facebook, The Immigrant Nation Podcast, LinkedIn, and YouTube, The Immigrant Nation Podcast. Mr. Martinez, tell our listeners where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. First, my LinkedIn page. So it's Pete Martinez. Second, in the website for our company is civotechinc.com. That's SIVOTECINC.com. That's our webpage. It's got my contact information as well. What you'll find is we're doing some pretty extraordinary things right now. And the thing that I enjoy the most, and this goes back to part of the conversation, I have been able to bring in some really, really young scientists, engineers, humanitarians that are working with us right out of school. And the way that they're actually using technology and the way that, but what's fascinating is I call it the combination of fresh blood and gray hair. Okay. Very, very key because they don't know what they don't know. They think AI started 3 years ago. Well, it did. I was working in AI back in 1989. So, but what I found about these folks, they were incredibly curious and were willing to be coached, mentored to the proper. So we're taking their energy, their enthusiasm, their creativity, their knowledge of the new technology and stirring it into societal issues. So the first thing that I write in everybody's contract when I hire them, improve the human condition. Everything else comes with it.
I love your mission, sir. It's fantastic. What is the foundational lesson that you took from IBM and now you use it to lead Civotech?
I was very fortunate to be in some of the most earth-shaking transformations in the world. I was part of the original IBM personal computer. Okay? That unto itself, you say, oh my God. When we were doing this thing, we had no idea how big this thing was going to be. And you're just kind of humbled by what happened, but the significance of it, because it wasn't just a personal computer. It became an airline terminal. It replaced all the things that we had. It became the ATM machine, became it would be ridiculous. I was part of the original internet, developing some of the services and the technologies related to it. Now think about it. If the personal computer hadn't happened, the internet would have never happened. What would you connect? I was part of some of the bigger supercomputers in the world, and we were using them to detect the potential mutations of the avian flu virus and crazy stuff like that. Now I'm involved in AI. So I I've been very fortunate to participate in some of the grander things that have transformed the world. So I tend to think really big and go after the big challenges. Never thinking that I can do this thing myself. I surround myself with really, really sharp people, but I know the power of technology. I know the power of the human spirit in terms of wanting to transform and create a better society. So the combination of the two makes for a very, very interesting challenge.
I love the fact that you are inspired and really enjoying hiring young minds and then uh, integrating the experience with the young minds. What would you say to a young adult, a 17-year-old immigrant just arriving to the US today, dreaming of tech, innovation, and the pursuit of happiness?
Yeah, I would say it's probably the strongest path to make a difference. You can consider that AI is very transformational in every industry. AI is going to make a strong play, and the challenge is, look, you're not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by somebody who knows how to use the AI. So really get ahead of that, the tip of the spear, as you mentioned. So get ahead of that and be transformative. It's fascinating you mentioned the immigration component. Of the 28 people that we have in our team, 21 are from foreign countries. And it's not just where you would suspect. We got China, India, Bangladesh, Greece, the Netherlands, England, Canada, United States, Mexico, Cuba, Uruguay, Argentina, you name it, we got it. So yeah, it's amazing. And what creates is that melting pot of ideas, which we talk about diversity being the color or the gender. No, it's the ideas. It's the ideas, that confusion of ideas. We never asked, where. Yesterday I'm sitting around the table with these seven really bright minds, right out of school, and I'm looking at myself, and the guy sitting next to me is from Bangladesh. Imagine the story. He came from Bangladesh. He got his master's degree at Florida Atlantic University in mechanical engineering, and now he's designing one of the most powerful AI engines in health because he believed in himself and we provided him the opportunity to excel.
That to me speaks greatly about the spirit of mentorship that those in your team are going through. Outside of productivity and work, how should immigrants who have or do consider them successful, how should they share their path of success with those around them, leading them, guiding them, mentorship, and on and on?
I think you hit it right there. It's the mentoring responsibility. All of us should be doing that. We have been very blessed with the opportunities and what we have created. There's a responsibility that comes with it to give back. So it's being not only, hey, look at me type of conversation. It's no, let me tell you how I got here. Okay. Which is the path is more important than where you wound up. Okay, because the lessons learned, and this is the straight talk that I give to all of these young people, is let's talk about how do we make you a better human being? How do we polish up the technology and everything else? You can learn. How do you create character? How do you create values? How do you create professionalism? How do you create integrity? Those are the things that are going to distinguish you. Everything else you can learn.
Immigrants across the globe, this is not unique to America only, are facing lots of persecution in many ways.
Mhm.
We as human beings over the history of time have always found ourselves moving in the direction of peace, stability, good health, and safety.
Hmm.
Over time, human beings have also created borders, and now we have countries and continents. Um, with that, we've created economies and opportunities, and in that, immigrants have participated in those economies to build what we have today.
Hmm.
Why is there so much persecution for immigrants, and what is the responsibility of immigrants, one, in proving that we are the back of innovation and creation, and two, as immigrants, what do we need to start doing to create opportunities for those we left behind? Because now with technology, now with AI, really, to me, I'm not sure immigration is necessary that much.
Hmm. It's a loaded question. The first thing is politicians are the worst of the worst. We keep electing and people that said we cause a situation. Obviously, if you stuff too many people in one place at one time and you don't know what's coming in, that's going to create a problem. It's economic, it's health, and everything else, no question about it. So then the opposite reaction is, well, now we got to explore and do this thing. So now we're swinging like left to right, and that's insane. So this is political in societal engineering that is absolutely wrong, because every 4 years we get to swing our population around, and that's insane. The second part is, of the people that are coming to this country, that are coming for the right thing, to create a better life for their families. This is the best of the best environment you could possibly have. Yeah, we have a lot of defects and whatever, but my God, if this is not the land of opportunity, nothing else. So we should not be criticizing it. We should be making it better. And then one thing that I found with everybody that I talk to that have reached some kind of position, they all worked within the system to make the system better. They never criticized the system. They never said, I'm a victim of the system. They said, how do we bring it in? So one, there's a level of assimilation. You want to maintain your culture, but you want to create a level of assimilation so that you actually make your society better. You get no more better respect from anybody when you're actually they said, well, I don't know how he did it or where he came from. I don't care. Look at what he's doing for society. That's probably the best thing you can do.
Ladies and gentlemen, in today's pod, we are speaking with Pete Martinez. Pete's story reminds us even in the most complex systems, there is room for immigrant brilliance to break through. Pete, what is the one question you are hoping I would ask you that I have not asked you?
uh, it's where do I go from here? Okay, which is typically, we've gotten to a place. In this point in time, it's all about the others. How do we improve the human condition? I'm living the words that I put on everybody else's account. So, uh, what was been fascinating of this company, the Civotech company that I created, uh, for the 6 years, nobody took a salary. Everybody had some other things that they were doing. Fortunately, I was able to invest and create the company. But if you ask anybody in the group, what is the number one achievement that you've had? It's not financial, it's not technology. It's we've helped 160,000 kids and their families through very difficult times. I think that's the social responsibility that we have now. And the more I deal with it, the more I'm convinced. So the things that you mentioned, yes, I mentor a lot of kids. I give a lot of presentations in retirement communities. I go to retirement communities every couple of weeks and talk about AI and how to use AI to actually better yourself for entertainment, for education, for finance, and everything else. I don't ask for anything in return. That's my responsibility as a human being. No, you actually want to extend. So it is the kids, it is the adults, it's your family, it's everything around. But yeah, I take this responsibility. So I have been blessed, and I will turn around and give back seriously.
Thank you, Pete. Before we sign off, I think there's a part that you just mentioned that we should have had a conversation at the very beginning, but we do get an opportunity to speak about that, and that's sacrifice.
Mhm.
Your parents sacrificed quite a bit. You sacrificed quite a bit. Most immigrants do. We give up our homes, we give up the countries we love to migrate to another country to learn a new culture, a new currency, a new way of doing things, integrate with that community, and become part of that community and are expected to be successful. Yet we lose our relationships um, from where we came from. That's a sacrifice beyond anybody's understanding.
Yep.
In that, we also become productive members of society, but to succeed, we also sacrifice in time and work capacity. What are some of the sacrifices you've had to endure over time, and especially earlier on when you were starting your career?
The emphasis that I've always put is in family, okay? Because I think family is the nucleus of our society. So early on in life, I had to spend an awful lot of time driving myself so that I could create a better economic place. So there's a balance. I was on a lot of planes and a lot of travel. Fortunately, my wife overextended herself, and she did a terrific job of maintaining the family unit. I have now the opportunity, now that we have 8 grandkids, I spend a lot of time with them, actually reinstilling the pride, the fire in the gut for them. And I tell them the stories of where they came from. I tell them the stories about my parents, their grandparents, their great grandparents, because you have to create a cultural set of values. And within it, it's not just a story of, what did we eat and where did we go and everything else. It's the values. It's the conversation about values, about the respect, about the love that we shared within the family. And that's probably the most immediate responsibility you have, is the ones you can control the most is your family.
Mr. Martinez, you have been phenomenal. You've been phenomenal. Thank you. Before we sign off, is there anything else we need from you?
Your blessings. I hopefully thank you for giving me the opportunity just to speak. But there are some life lessons here that I absolutely love sharing. That's my responsibility. So thank you. I'm honored, and anything that I can do for anybody in this podcast, count on me. I'm there for you.
Tell us where again our listeners can find you, sir.
Yes. Uh, the It's P Martinez, Martinez, at Civotech Inc. Civotech.com, Civotechinc.com, and that's my personal email. So absolutely, I'm there for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Immigrants, Pete Martinez reminds us that there is room for immigrant brilliance and room for us to break through and actually force that change. Please do share the conversation today with someone who needs inspiration. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Immigrant Nation and Facebook at the Immigrant Nation Podcast. Subscribe and comment on YouTube and on LinkedIn. Again, the Immigrant Nation Podcast. Please share and subscribe the show. We get to sign off and say thank you to Mr. Martinez for joining us at the Immigrant Podcast show today. Thank you, sir.